Alex Thompson had always cherished the quiet solitude of his 20-acre pasture in rural Tennessee. It was his sanctuary, a slice of land he'd bought 2 years ago after retiring from a stressful career in urban planning. But one crisp autumn afternoon, as he pulled up the gravel driveway to his farmhouse, his heart sank. Cutting straight through the heart of his lush green fields was a brand-new concrete road fully paved, 10 to 12 feet wide, lined with sleek solar-powered lights, and flanked by sturdy gates. Bold signs proclaimed it the property of the nearby Willow Creek Homeowners Association, HOA, complete with warnings against trespassing. There hadn't been a single warning, no knock on his door, no letter in the mail. Just this audacious invasion. Stunned, Alex grabbed his phone and dialed the local sheriff, but first, he needed proof. Bulldozer tracks scarred the earth like fresh wounds, his boundary fencing had been ripped out in sections, and worst of all, his security cameras, usually vigilant guardians, were offline, their wires deliberately severed. Tucked under his windshield wiper was a smug note from Susan Harper, the HOA president. Temporary utilization for community access. Thank you for your cooperation. Fury boiled in Alex's veins. This wasn't just a mistake, it was a calculated theft. He fired up his computer and pulled up the county's GIS maps, cross-referencing them with his deed. The road sliced through 4 acres of his agricultural land, which was explicitly exempt from any HOA oversight. It was prime grazing territory, now defiled by asphalt. How dare they? Digging deeper, he learned the construction crew had masqueraded as city workers, complete with vests and hard hats, fooling neighbors into thinking it was official business. That evening, Alex marched over to his neighbor Tom Jenkins' place, a grizzled farmer who'd lived there for decades. Over a pot of strong coffee, Tom spilled the beans. The HOA had bragged about getting permission from the previous owner, some verbal nod from years back. But Alex knew better. At land had been in probate for months before he bought it, and no such agreement existed. Tom's eyes widened when Alex mentioned the company behind it, Omega Construction Incorporated, owned by none other than Susan Harper's son-in-law. A clear conflict of interest, reeking of nepotism and corruption. Armed with drone footage capturing the destruction from above, high-res photos of the sabotage, his ironclad deed, and survey maps, Alex compiled a dossier. This wasn't going to slide. The next morning, he stormed into the HOA office, a bland strip mall suite buzzing with self-important energy. Susan Harper, a sharp-featured woman in her 50s with a penchant for power suits, met him with a saccharine smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Mr. Thompson, this road is a temporary access route for our community's benefit," she purred, leaning back in her chair. "We had verbal approval from the prior owner. It's all above board." Alex slammed his evidence on the desk. "Verbal? From a dead man? This is my land, and you've trespassed, destroyed property, and committed fraud. I used to enforce zoning laws for a living. I know exactly what this is." The room crackled with tension. Susan's facade cracked, her voice rising to a shrill pitch. "Interfere, and we'll sue you into oblivion. This is for the greater good." Undeterred, Alex fired off a cease and desist letter via certified mail, filed a police report for vandalism and trespass, and lodged a formal complaint with the county zoning board. For good measure, he tipped off a local news station, knowing publicity could be his strongest weapon. The zoning board's response was swift. No permits had been issued, no environmental assessments done. Rifling through public HOA meeting minutes, Alex uncovered another bombshell: the board hadn't even voted on the project. It was Susan's rogue operation. He started knocking on doors in the Willow Creek subdivision, where residents, initially wary, began opening up. One couple confessed they'd been told it was a municipal easement, not a private land grab. Another leaked internal emails labeling Alex's pasture as a public-use corridor, a blatant lie designed to justify the theft. The story exploded when Channel 9 aired an interview with Alex, drone shots of the scarred land flashing across screens. "This HOA president thinks she can steal my property for her family's gain," he declared, his voice steady but edged with righteous anger. The clip went viral overnight, sparking outrage online. Hashtags like HOA tyranny trended, drawing whistleblowers from the community. One resident, Laura Benson, slipped him an audio recording from a clandestine HOA meeting where Susan desperately pushed for retroactive approval, admitting the funds came from reserves without consent. But victory wasn't without peril. Anonymous texts flooded Alex's phone. Back off or regret it. Veiled threats, traced back to burner numbers, only fueled his resolve. He forwarded them to his attorney and the journalist, who ran a follow-up exposing the intimidation tactics. The controversy ignited debates across forums. Was this just HOA overreach or systemic corruption in suburban America? Critics accused Alex of being anti-community, while supporters hailed him as a hero against entitled elites. The HOA struck back, suing Alex for interference with community infrastructure. He countersued for trespass, property destruction, and fraud, demanding restitution. Discovery unearthed the rot. Susan had siphoned $240,000 from HOA reserves, funneled straight to her son-in-law's company. Laura's recording became Exhibit A, proving the cover-up. The court, swayed by the mounting evidence, granted emergency relief, authorizing immediate demolition of the road. On a rainy dawn, Alex's hired crew rolled in with jackhammers and excavators. Susan arrived in a screech of tires, face twisted in rage, waving her arms like a banshee. "You can't do this. This is vandalism," she shrieked. Alex thrust the court order at her. "Read it and weep. Your reign ends here." The HOA's retaliation was pathetic. Press releases painting Alex as a greedy obstructionist, petitions that fizzled, bogus police complaints dismissed on site. But the real hammer fell when Alex uncovered the unauthorized contract and embezzled funds, filing complaints with state regulators and the district attorney. The DA launched a criminal probe into Susan for fraud, embezzlement, and criminal trespass. The HOA board, sensing the ship sinking, ousted her in an emergency vote. Former allies turned state's witnesses, spilling details of off-books transfers and Susan's bullying tactics to silence dissent. The trial was a spectacle, packed with media and residents divided between loyalty and betrayal. Susan, defiant to the end, claimed it was all for community progress, but the jury wasn't buying it. Guilty on all counts, she was sentenced to 6 years in prison, her empire crumbling in disgrace. In the aftermath, Alex pocketed over $80,000 in compensation, plus legal fees. He sold a legitimate easement to the county for fair market value, ensuring no future surprises, and restored his pasture to its former glory. New fencing, reseeded grass, even upgraded security with motion sensors and backups. As the sun set over his reclaimed land, Alex felt a profound peace. Yet the story lingered, sparking heated debates. Was justice served, or had one man's fight exposed how HOAs wield unchecked power, turning neighbors into adversaries? In Tennessee's rolling hills, the scars faded, but the controversy endured.